everyone. My name is Magriet Mouton, and I am with the Being Human group here in South Africa, currently sitting in Johannesburg, speaking to Marius van Loggenberg, founder and CEO of Berg Leadership. Marius, welcome to Living Your Strengths today.
Thank you, Magriet. It's great to be with you.
Marius, so we had an interesting conversation just before we went live. You started your business, was it around February, March, this of 2020?
Well, I've been running my business sort of as a side hustle for a few years, and sort of towards the end of 2019, I decided I'm going to give it a go full time. So at the beginning of January, I resigned, and I worked my notice. My last day of notice was in April. So my business started in the middle of our lockdowns in South Africa with the coronavirus hitting us. So it's been an interesting time.
Wow. Well, Marius, it's not just an interesting time. I think for many, it was a very scary time. Starting a new business, so you don't have to only deal with the emotions of starting a new business, but now the coronavirus became a worldwide pandemic, and suddenly we're in lockdown.
Yeah, that's true. And I think the big thing is, overnight I had to, change my approach. Firstly, I had clients already and so on, but everything changed overnight. So all of a sudden they're not there, or it has to look different when you work with them. And you have to find new strategies, new ways of working with people, and you're far from everybody. So how do you create an online presence all of a sudden? And it's a new business, so you have to sort of get yourself going and be in people's screens now. You don't have to be in their offices now; you have to be in their screens. So it's a different ball game, and it's been quite a adapting process, I would say, definitely.
What is now the company that you started is all about leadership. It's called Berg Leadership. Yeah. And
yes.
Well, let me just say it almost has the resemblance of climbing out Everest, the Berg of Everest. When starting a new business in the middle of a pandemic, why did you choose that name?
Well, I think there are two reasons. My surname is just too long to put on a letterhead, van Loggenberg. So that's the first thing. So I just use the last bit of it, the Berg part of my surname. But I am a hiker and a climber, and we did Kilimanjaro here in South Africa a couple of years ago. So it's a bit of a metaphor for me as well, as to how leadership works and how relationships work. The climbing and the being at the summit only for a few minutes and then having to descend again. So there's a lot of a lot of meaning in it for me, and because of my life experiences and everything that I've been through. And leadership for me is just I discovered the word leadership only sort of in my early 20s when I started working, and I've just learned so much about it, and it's always been something that's interested me. I've always led teams, and I've always been in teams and working with other people. I found that the biggest thing is you have to start by leading yourself. And that's where we always start, by leading yourself first. You can't lead others if you can't lead yourself well. And, climbing a mountain, it's just you and the voice in your head when you're oxygen deprived. And then you have to sort of negotiate this journey with yourself. And I think that's probably the toughest part of leadership and of being a leader, is negotiating the voice, or sometimes voices, that are speaking in your head that you have to work with. So that's sort of the gist of it in a nutshell.
So Marius, what were the voices in your head when the pandemic hit, and suddenly you need to change almost everything?
Well, I'm lucky. I think I've got in my personality, I'm very adaptable. So there's something there that helped me quite a bit. But I think my biggest challenge probably was not having contact with people. I'm a very relational person, and just having to, I think, firstly learn how to read a room while nobody's in the room with you. You're in an online environment now, so to read a room, to work with a client or just an individual or a team, to see what's going on and what the mood is. I really depend on that physical contact, and that's something I've developed over the years. But all of a sudden, that's gone. Now I have to find a new way of reading the room, or seeing what the felt need is, sort of that tangible something that's missing. So there's something of that I think I'm missing it quite a bit. And also, I mean, being a relational person, I miss having people around me. So usually, no matter what kind of job you do, you've got people around you, and even if you're in the toughest working environment, there's always that the one or two people on the team that you sort of relate with, and it's nice to just see them and to have a cup of coffee with them over lunchtime and so on. So that's gone, and so I think the biggest thing, it's been easier to adapt with the business model, but it's been tougher to adapt, on the relational side. I think that's probably the biggest challenge. So the voice in my head keeps on saying to me, you need people around you, and I've had to learn how to grow through that, which is something that's very important for me, to still stay sane in the middle of everything as well. So yeah.